Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about fixing your credit score. If your score is 680 or lower, this video is for you. Having a good score is an important part of adulthood. Fixing it could save you thousands and thousands of dollars in interest rate and just overall can make your life a lot easier. Whether it's a credit card, a car loan, or a mortgage, companies, the lenders will look at your credit score and the credit history. And depending on where your score is and what you got on that credit history, they will either A, give you a loan with a high interest if your credit score is not good, or B, they will completely reject you. It does not feel good when you find a home of your dreams and you know you can't qualify for it, or you found a car that you want to buy and you can't qualify for it, or the interest rate that you're getting is just not something that you want to pay. The first thing you need to do is like this video and subscribe to this channel. Once you've done that, go to either creditkarma.com, creditsesame.com, or annualcreditreport.com. I will link all three websites down below. Those are three websites that I personally have used and are providing great value for free. Now, if you wanted to do it paid, you will probably pay $30 or $40 depending on the company, and you will end up getting the same results. In the end, it's your choice. Some of these companies do collect data, so
it's not like the government is listening to everybody's conversation.
Hi, I'm calling about your meat lovers pizza. I like meat, but I don't know if I'm ready to love again. You hang up first.
No, you hang up first.
Okay.
She hung up on me.
do your research and see which one you want to go with. But I'm pretty sure even the paid ones collect your data in one way or another. So I don't see the reason for paying, whether it's 30, 20, or 40. I just don't see the reason to pay that much money. Once you pulled your credit report, go through it and see what's dragging it down, because you want to understand what's affecting your credit score in a negative way. And it could be few things. You either A, don't have a credit history at all, and if that's the case, that's a whole other video for another day, because we're talking about fixing credit score in this video. We're not talking about building credit history from scratch. If that's not the case, you probably have a late payment or several late payments, and those are very important. They could affect your credit score for 7 long years.
What year is it?
So make sure you don't have any late payments. Another thing that could affect your credit score is collection. If you had late payments that you did not take care of, they eventually end up going to collection. If company cannot collect their money, they usually write it off as a total loss.
Dump it.
And they sell it to a collection agency for pennies on the dollar. Those collection agencies will reach out to you and try to collect it.
Scanion, Weinstock, and Reisman.
Last thing you want to check for is maxed out credit cards. If you have an available credit of $2,000 and you ended up using up $1,800 of those $2,000, you're pretty much maxed out your entire credit limit. And companies do not like seeing that. As a matter of fact, your credit utilization takes up 30% of your entire credit score, and it's very important. Those are the things that could be affecting your credit. Other than that, it could be a bankruptcy or an eviction.
I declare bankruptcy!
But those things are usually known. Like you probably know that you had a bankruptcy, and you probably know that you've been evicted. However, there are situations where people have their identity stolen, and if that's the case, you have to dispute all of that with the credit bureau, and it'll be a pretty tedious and pretty long process, but it's doable. Now let's try to tackle these problems. We'll start with late payments. If you haven't made a payment for 30 days, if you're late 30 days, typically your lender will report it to the credit bureau and will be marked as late. How much does this really affect your credit score? Well, it's a lot. Your payment history makes up 35% of your entire credit score. So if you don't make your payments on time, it will affect your credit score pretty badly. Making those payments is very important. The longer it stays on that credit report, the worse it gets. 30-day late payment is not as bad as a 60-day late payment, and it's not as bad as a 90-day late payment. And if you wait a little longer after that, it will go right into collection. If you cannot pay the debt off, but you think there are errors, first of all, do not lie. Absolutely do not lie. Don't try to trick the system. But if you think there are errors, you can go ahead and dispute it. You can do that by either going to the website of the credit bureau, or you can send a letter to the credit bureau, at which point they'll submit an inquiry with a creditor to see if the payment was truly late. Your other option is to call the lender yourself and politely ask to negotiate the terms of payment.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
If you are behind, falling behind, and there are some things that came up in your life, maybe an emergency, and you just can't pay it on time, lenders are usually very flexible because they want to get that money, because they know if you don't pay it off, eventually they'll have to write it off completely as a total loss. So they will work with you. They'll try to help you set up a payment plan. So call them, ask them politely, and see if they can help you out. And then while you are talking to them, see if they can change the status of the payment from late to either current, or just completely remove it. So yeah, either try to negotiate, try to have them deleted, or try to dispute it for errors. And once you get rid of these late payments, let's move to the next thing, which is collection. You checked your credit report and you saw that one of your accounts is in a collection, and this will stay on your credit report for 7 years unless you take care of it. Here you have few options. Option number one is obviously if you find some errors or you think this has been done by error and it doesn't belong to you. Maybe there was a misunderstanding between you and a creditor. Maybe you made a payment but it somehow ended up being a collection anyways. You can go ahead and dispute it. The collection agency will have 30 days to respond with evidence that it's truly your account, it's truly your collection, and there are no errors. If they don't respond on time, this collection will be removed from your credit report. However, if it doesn't get removed from your credit report by disputing it, you always have an option to call the collection agency and negotiate with them for removal. And I've personally done it myself. I've helped somebody to have the collection removed from their credit report. And the way you do it is you call in, and usually I would suggest calling and asking for a manager. Depending on how large your debt is, you can negotiate it down. As an example, if your debt is $1,000, you can potentially negotiate to have it removed for $200. And the reason why that usually works is because these collection agencies buy these debts from original creditors for, like I said, pennies on the dollar. So if you have a original $1,000 debt, they probably purchased it for $100. So anything after $100 is pure profit for them. So usually they're pretty flexible because they know they can get something out of you or they won't get anything out of you.
Show me the money!
So you just call in and you can politely talk to them, explain the situation, and tell them that you would like to negotiate either payment plan or complete payment for a removal. And make sure if they agree to the terms, they agree in a written matter. Another thing that could be affecting your credit is maxed out credit limit. Your credit utilization is very important. It makes up 30% of your entire credit score. So let's say if you have a credit limit of $1,000 and you used up 900 of that, you pretty much maxed out your entire credit limit. So you have two options in this case to improve your credit score. You either have to pay down your balance as much as possible. In this particular case, if you have $900 in debt, you should try to pay down at least $700 of that to bring you down to 200, which would be 20% of your entire credit line, in which case it's much better because anything above 30% affects your credit score drastically. Ultimately, you should try to pay off your credit cards every month. That way you're establishing your credit, you have no debt, obviously. If you can't for some reason pay off your debt right away and you need to improve your credit score or you need to improve your credit situation, let's say you have something coming up and you really need to improve your credit score, you should apply for more credit cards and increase your credit line. Going back to an example of $1,000 credit limit, if you have $1,000 credit limit and you're using 900 of those $1,000, you basically maxing out your entire credit limit, which affects your credit score in a very negative way. However, if you increase that $1,000 to $10,000 and you're only using $800 of $10,000 credit limit, well, now all of a sudden the amount of credit you're using went from 90% down to 9%. And that's a much better situation to be in. It would give your credit score a huge boost. Don't do that unless you know you're not gonna spend more money and get yourself into a deeper hole. Finally, the last two things that could be affecting your credit in a negative way, it's either bankruptcy or eviction. Bankruptcies usually stay on your credit report for 10 years and evictions stay on your credit report for 7 years. Unfortunately, in those two situations, it's really hard to get those things removed from your credit. However, again, if you feel like there's an error, you should try to dispute it. You never know, maybe it will get removed from your credit. Otherwise, I suggest try to build everything else around it. As always, if you like my videos, consider subscribing, consider liking this video. I put in a lot of time into these videos. Show me some love, show me some support, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.